What if I told you that before someone cheats, long before the betrayal, they leave clues, subtle ones like breadcrumbs in the forest? The problem? Most people don't see them. Not because they're foolish, but because they're hopeful, in love, trusting. But what if you could learn to spot the signs before your heart ends up shattered? Welcome to the uncomfortable truth, grounded in psychology, observed through Stoic wisdom. Stay sharp, because what you're about to hear might just save you from emotional ruin. And if you're thinking, this would never happen to me, well, you might want to listen even closer. Sign number 1, emotional distance. In Stoicism, emotional detachment is a tool for peace. But in relationships, sudden detachment isn't peace, it's a red flag. A disconnect that builds slowly. The warm texts turn cold. Conversations that once flowed now feel forced. Small gestures disappear. She used to laugh at your jokes, light up when you walked in, check in, care deeply. Now, she's distant, still there, but not really. It's not just stress, it's not a bad day, it's emotional retreat, and often guilt hides behind it. When someone starts withdrawing emotionally, it's usually because they're investing those emotions elsewhere. And once emotional, needs are met outside the relationship, the connection at home begins to feel more like an obligation than a bond. Sign number 2, a mysterious schedule. Time doesn't lie, it reveals. Suddenly her calendar is packed. Long meetings, late errands, vague outings with friends. And when you ask, the answers are hollow. It was fine. Nothing much. Details disappear, but the inconsistencies grow. Behavioral psychology shows us this. When people start seeking emotional or physical attention elsewhere, they don't always lie. They just leave out enough truth to confuse you. The trick is in the patterns, the shift. A Stoic approach: observe, don't accuse. She spent 3 hours at Target and came home with nothing. Sure, maybe she needed a walk, or maybe she's rewriting her routine to make room for someone else. Cheaters often don't create outrageous lies. They craft just enough normalcy to pass as truth. Sign number 3, sudden secrecy. Her phone used to sit face up on the table. Now it's locked, flipped over, always in her hand. She smiles at messages you never see. You ask to borrow it, and she reacts like you asked for her bank password. In modern relationships, digital behavior often tells the real story. Emotional cheating doesn't always start with physical betrayal. It begins with messages, innocent at first, then more intimate. And emotional intimacy, when hidden, can be just as powerful and damaging as the physical kind. If she suddenly guards her phone like it holds state secrets, don't panic, don't pry, watch the behavior. As Marcus Aurelius said, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. So be still, but be wise. Sign number 4, the reversal, gaslighting. Now it's your fault. You're too controlling, too insecure. She starts arguments over nothing, makes you feel like you're imagining things. This is psychological projection. Her guilt gets turned into your doubt. She flips the script so often, you begin to question your own judgment. This is the most dangerous stage, not just for your heart, but for your mind. Because betrayal isn't just painful, it's disorienting. You saw the signs, you felt the shift, but now you're the one apologizing for noticing. That confusion, that's the goal. When guilt becomes too heavy, some don't confess. They deflect, hard. And if you're not careful, you'll lose trust not in her, but in yourself. So, what do you do with all this? You don't rage. You don't beg. You don't try to chase what's slipping away. You observe. You listen to your instincts without letting emotions hijack your clarity. Stoicism teaches us to respond, not react. If you see the signs, let them be what they are. information, patterns, not proof of failure, but warnings before the fall. Not every change means betrayal, but when the emotional presence fades, when time becomes a fog, when secrecy spikes and reality feels twisted, it's time to stop hoping and start seeing. Because sometimes the truth isn't hidden, it's just quietly waiting for you to accept it. Sign 5. Unusual kindness and sudden affection. This one's the most confusing. Out of nowhere, she becomes perfect. Extra kisses, surprise gifts, random "I love you" texts, planned date nights. On the surface, it feels like love, but deep down, something's off. It's not affection, it's compensation. In guilt psychology, people overcorrect to maintain their self-image. When someone struggles with the emotional dissonance between what they've done and who they believe they are, they try to balance the scale. She tells herself, if I'm being extra sweet, I'm not really doing something wrong. But affection that comes from guilt isn't real. It's a mask, and the most dangerous lies are the ones wrapped in tenderness. Don't be seduced by the sudden sweetness. As Marcus Aurelius said, the closer a man is to the truth, the clearer he must see through the fog of pleasure. If she went from cold and distant to overly affectionate overnight, that's not growth, that's guilt in disguise. And now, the final sign, the one that rarely lies. Sign 6, she ends it first or forces you to. This is the last move in the playbook. When it becomes too much to hide or carry, she won't admit the truth. Instead, she creates a reason to end it, or pushes you to do it for her. Maybe it's a sudden argument over nothing, a dramatic exit, a vague "I just need space." Maybe she accuses you of being the problem. You've changed, you're too jealous, too distant. Sound familiar? It's not about you, it's about projection. She wants out but doesn't want to be the villain. So she creates emotional chaos, pokes at your insecurities, starts fights, weaponizes silence until you finally give up. And the moment you do, she gets to play the victim. He gave up on me, when in reality she left long before she said the words. This isn't just avoidance, it's a psychological tactic. She crafts a way out without having to carry the blame. Your job isn't to convince her to stay, it's to recognize when she's already gone. The Stoic response? Let go, with grace, with clarity. Let your silence speak what your pain cannot. She drops a "maybe we need space" line right after a mysterious weekend. That's not timing. That's a story written in guilt. Coincidence? Only if you believe in fairy tales. But here's the bigger question. Why do men miss these signs? Because love blinds reason. Because men are taught to suppress suspicion, to trust more, to not be toxic. Because cheaters don't look like villains. They smile. They say, "I love you." They hold your hand, right up until they don't. Men miss the signs not because they're foolish, but because they believe. They believe in loyalty, in love, in the woman they fell for. But Stoicism doesn't ask you to be cold. It asks you to see clearly. It doesn't ask you to assume betrayal. It asks you to observe without illusion. Be honest. Are you watching her actions or clinging to a fantasy? The signs are always there. This isn't about paranoia. It's about awareness. A wise man doesn't accuse. He observes. A stoic man doesn't chase. He stands still in truth, and a high-value man doesn't beg to be loved. He walks away with dignity. If this video opened your eyes, even just a little, do one thing: like, subscribe, and share it with a brother who might be too close to see the truth. Because sometimes the truth hurts, but the cost of ignoring it, that's what truly breaks you. Stay grounded, stay sharp, stay stoic,